870 or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Give us a call, 260-1870 on our Oakland Heart Talk and text line. We've got Albert Nicaud. Good morning, Albert.
Morning, Doug. How are you?
Good. I just, gotta get rid of this feedback here. We went to the Jesuit football game, Jesuit Catholic High game last night, and watched Catholic High beat Jesuit 14-10. And I have to say, only one night, and never again. I was a Jesuit fan last night, and so
right.
So they actually, Coach Ryan McNally, who came over, I have to say this, came over from De La Salle last year, is coach of Jesuit, and I think this is his fourth time in the last 6 years in the state finals. And Catholic High was superior physically than Jesuit. I mean, they were like, it looked like almost a college team, looked like a D2 college team, and Jesuit had to play a mistake-free game to win, and they almost did. So the Catholic scored their first touchdown on a punt, snap went over the punter's head, and they recovered in the end zone, touchdown. And they scored with about 6 minutes left in the first quarter, didn't score again, and Jesuit creeped back, held on, creeped back till 14-10, and just couldn't get over the hump. But, I have to say, they must have been, at least 12,000 Jesuit fans on the Jesuit side.
Yeah.
Which was really good. And
from end zone to end zone.
Yeah, and, it was like an old SEC football game at the end. It was just sort of a smash mouth, defensive game, and I don't think they scored in the second half. I think it was 14-10 at the half, and just it's a great atmosphere. Catholic High traveled fantastic. I think they probably had 8,000 fans. There's probably about 20,000 fans at the game, and at Tulane, it was at Ullman Stadium too, which was better because when you play in a dome, even if you have 10 to 15,000 fans, you still feel empty. I mean,
right.
Whereas this felt a lot more intimate. So congratulations to Jesuit. Did a fantastic job. And this is the same players they had last year. I mean, just
right.
With
it's also their championship game was last week when they beat Brother Martin. So it's kind of like Michigan. If Michigan didn't go on to win, any games in the playoffs, they beat Ohio State 2 weeks ago, so that was their Super Bowl,
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you what, that was just a fun atmosphere to watch, and again, congratulations. And I know, Bo's been out of Jesuit for 5 years, 4 years, something there.
Yeah, he got out in 2017. Yeah.
So, all right, but besides that, did you watch any of the games yesterday?
A little bit. I watched the Alabama game, Alabama-Georgia. It's once again that mistake-free football thing. It was a situation where Alabama appeared to be really ready to play, and first couple with 3 and outs, and then I think they realized, it's a coaching thing. We're not going to be able to run the ball too well in this team, so we need to pass it. And they did. And they were able to hold off the rush long enough to get Young some time to throw the ball. And I think he had close to, over 400 yards passing and 4 or 5 touchdowns. I mean, it ended up being kind of a rout. Really, it was closer than it seemed, but a couple of interceptions that, a receiver stopped on a pass and they intercepted the ball. a pick six. If there's no pick six, it's a one possession game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of, it's much like Jesuit, right? We don't have the snap over the head. That's a touchdown. And from what I understand, they were down at the goal line and threw a pass, and the running back dropped the pass, so they had to settle for a field goal, which was the difference. Again, that's mistakes
football.
You make in football.
Yeah.
Blaming these kids, but
I didn't want to say you had to make every play in order to win.
Right.
And because
the defense seemed to step up for Jesuit.
Yeah, because you had to make every play because they were better. They were bigger and better athletes, not necessarily better football players.
They beat St. Paul's last week. Catholic did 29-28.
Right.
And so I don't know if they went for two at some point to go ahead or how that worked out, but they said it was one of the best high school football games they'd seen in a while.
Yeah, no question. So I think we have among the best high school football anywhere in the nation, and that's why Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to come to LSU because per square mile there is not more football players.
I don't know. I could think you probably have 95 million reasons to leave, but besides that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess the money would have something to do with it. Interestingly, on the sidelines, Coach O was at the game, looking very tanned and relaxed, and seemed to take it in. So I think it's a different. I think I sensed that he could watch football and enjoy a good football game without thinking who do I have to meet after the game, which parent do I have to see this thing, just
right.
So he looked very relaxed and
that's not a bad retirement.
Yeah.
And I will say, I liked Brian Kelly selection. He's a proven winner. I think he's a better coach than the last two coaches we had. Clearly better than Les Miles. I think you or I would have been a better coach than him. And then Coach O. Just don't know X's and O's that he was the guy. He's a great recruiter. I think the players like him. So let's see. I mean, from what I understand, Notre Dame had like one of the top, I think like the top 5 recruiting class. So, last year. So, I mean, he can certainly recruit. And now but he's not going to be playing some of the powder puffs that he played when they were independent, and
it's a two prong. He's not going to pay right. He's not going to be playing, the armed services and those teams. But on the other hand, he will be playing. He will have more access to better players because Notre Dame's not much different than Tulane. They're really not as far as the academic standards and getting. They have problems getting certain players in that you don't have problems with in other SEC schools. So, I think it's a different. He's got an advantage and disadvantage, and the real advantage is the fact that he's able to just come in and get a better athlete here and get better players. And he did more with less, not Les Miles, but less, more with less than most coaches. So it'll be interesting. He has no real connections to Louisiana. He said this was the first time he stepped foot in Louisiana in his life, 60 years.
Really?
So I think.
Wow.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And I think
I don't know if Coach O ever made it to South Bend, so you never know, right? Again, I think he's a better coach. He's a proven winner. He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. I think this year he passed up Newt Rockne, and so he's got a pedigree and a following. And what I don't like about the whole Notre Dame concept is that, let's say Michigan loses last night. All of a sudden, next up is Notre Dame. Well, who did they play in their conference championship? Right? Nobody. So they sit idle and sneak in. You know, Alabama, for instance, if Alabama would have lost, they would have been a 2-loss team. They probably would not have made the top 4. And, you know, Notre Dame sneaks in ahead of them. I mean, that's just silliness. You know, I mean, why make somebody go play one of the best teams in the country to make it into the top 4, and Notre Dame doesn't have to do that? You know, in other schools, there are other schools that don't have conference championships that don't have to do that either. And so it needs to be fixed. I mean, they're talking about a 12-team championship series. I think 8 teams is plenty. If you're not in the top 8, you know, you don't deserve to be there. You know, oh yeah, I'm a 2-loss team. I'm number 9. I should be in. Well, no, you shouldn't. So, you know, in that way, you do away with the conference championships, make that the first week of the playoffs, and then you don't lose a week. You're not adding all these extra weeks to the college. Well, students games. You know, they're playing 13 or 14 games. You know,
right? I don't like diluting the regular season, because you know you want to have games in November in the regular season mean something. And
absolutely.
And if you have a 16-team playoff, you know you're going to have 3. You're going to have 3, maybe even 4 lost teams with 4 losses who make the playoffs.
They're talking about a 12-team, which is screws things up. You get
We're going to need a break. Could we have a call?
It's I don't know. I mean, I guess there's more money involved, you know, if people make the playoffs.
Yeah, but, you got practical aspects such as travel. I mean, is a team going to travel 4 different cities? I mean, you know, fans. I mean, from a financial standpoint. I mean, that's just different.
Correct. Yeah, it's too many playoff games.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go to a break. This is actually all things legal, but that's the way we normally start out with the important stuff, sports. So we'll be right back after this brief timeout.
At home.
I like local news because I want to know what's going to directly affect me and my community.
You know, my specific city.
Okay, our first caller is Nancy. She's from New Orleans, and she has a question about wills. Nancy, New Orleans, and wills.
Affairs, hear it all here.
I like to have, comprehensive reports.
It's the world you're living in. You should probably know what's going on in it.
The News Talk sports leader.
Staying informed gives me the power of knowledge.
So that I know what's going on in the world around me.
Sportsbook is coming soon to Louisiana. It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving customers $100 in free bets when you sign up before they go live. No deposit required. DraftKings is bringing their experience as a leader in daily fantasy sports to the sports betting world and have created one of America's top-rated sportsbook app, DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BIG870 when you sign up. Those who sign up right now will get $100 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Louisiana. That's code BIG870 to get $100 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. 7867. 21 and over. Louisiana only. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions.
Your local independent trained comfort specialist knows all about the challenges of living in Louisiana and the Gulf South region. They also know the importance of community and giving back to overcome those challenges, which is why they're excited to partner with Children's Hospital New Orleans and Odyssey New Orleans as the official phone and text line sponsor for the inaugural Light Up the Season Radiothon, December 9th and 10th. With your support, we can make a difference. For more information, visit trainsouth.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train.
I'm Erin, and this is my life with California Closets. I purchased a historic home that's over 150 years old. One of the biggest things old houses don't have is closet storage and organization. And in a modern life, you really need to store a lot of things. Working with California Closets was the only way to get exactly what I needed. It really makes my life better. I finally have my dream home, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it.
Schedule your free design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com. Remember the slogan, there's
lives. They're denying our claims and lowballing our estimates. This is Albert Nicaud, the Nicaud and Sunseri law firm in Metairie. Let us put our team of licensed contractors, roofers, and public adjusters to work for you so you can get your home and life back in order. Call me, Albert Nicaud, at 504-837-1304, and I'll make your insurance company accountable.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought
Okay,
it'd
we're
be too
going live
difficult
after
or
this one.
take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Nancy. She's got a question regarding wills. Hey, Nancy, good morning. What can we do for you?
Good morning. Sorry to bust up your sports talk.
Oh, well, that's...
but
we're hoping for that every week.
I know, I listen every week. Anyway, holographic wills, what do you think?
Ooh.
Not a...
What do you think, Albert? I'll let you answer first.
We're not fans of that. There are too many things that people want to, it might not want to, but unintentionally, I think, leave out. And again, if it's not signed at the bottom, there's litigation over whether anything that might have been written after the signature is part of the intent. Was anything added? The date. You got to have people go to a hearing to testify that this is the signature, that they're personally familiar with it. So I mean, it's more expense on the back end than just a simple will and probate. Everybody thinks probate's expensive, and and you'll hear a lot of folks say, "Oh, yeah, probate basically means to prove up a will." With a statutory will, meaning it's fully typewritten, signed by the testator with a witness, two witnesses, and a notary, it is self-authenticating. So you file it, the judge approves it, and then it starts operating to affect your wishes. So, and again, those are not, a simple will is not an expensive thing either. So we're not fans. It's not like we're trying to drive a lot of money and business our way, because again, it's not a big expense for that power of attorney or the living will to advance directive about your healthcare issues. So, but they're valid, and the Louisiana law provides for that mechanism. But
have you seen them go through probate successfully?
Yeah. The ones that are written correctly. Yes.
Okay.
Now I will say this. I've had what I call them sometimes are Yogi Berra wills. If you remember Yogi Berra, he used to say he used to say 90% of baseball is 50% mental, and you'd think, and you would have provisions in the will that you'd think that Yogi Berra had written, because they would say stuff like that. They'll say, "I'll give 80% of my property to so and so. I'll give another 40% to so and so," and you're like, "Okay, how do we interpret this?" And
right.
So,
yeah.
So basically,
I had one too.
Yeah.
They tried to coordinate. They tried to put power of attorney directives in the will. Well, the power of attorney dies when the person, the mandatory when he dies. The power of attorney is over with. So that agency ends, and then a succession representative needs to be appointed or not. I mean, again, we call it a spouse in a house, right? If I'm married, I got a spouse in a house. It's a pretty simple process. You probably don't need an administration of the estate. So we file a petition to open the succession, or a petition to probate the will and for possession, all in the same pleading, because, and it's, it takes about a week usually, depending on what parish, to file it and get it back. So it's a simple process. But what you just don't want is that opportunity to have conflict once that person dies, because then that's when the fighting starts. That's when the expense comes for both sides, and it's just a safer bet the other way. Are they legal? Are they, do they work? Yeah, if it's done correctly.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Thanks. That was my question. Thank you.
Okay.
I had a tree question, but we'll wait for that later.
Yeah. Right. So real quickly though, if you do an holographic will, it needs to be fully handwritten, not typed and signed, but fully handwritten in the testator's signature, dated and signed at the very bottom.
Right.
And,
Okay.
and in fact,
all right.
we're going to the Louisiana Fifth Circuit on the issue about the signature on the very bottom and whether information can come after that. So,
right.
Or
the margins,
And again, it's a the judge in the case said, I'm 100% convinced that this was the intent of the testator or testatrix, but you have to decide whether the formalities, and it's sort of a mess, or sort of a mess. It's an absolute mess, and so
Court of Appeal.
Yeah, and look, I always tell clients, I said, you see those green books in our library? You don't want to be in them, because it's cost you a lot to be there, and you never want to be a law school question, because again, it is such a funky issue that it means there was a lot of time and expense coming up with this issue, and chances are all the parties paid for it. So it's good to be out the green books, and I think there's a disproportionate amount of holographic wills that are in the green books and on needing to be interpreted by the courts. But that's an excellent question. That's an excellent question, Nancy. So
okay, well, thanks for having at it.
All right, thanks.
Well, I'll let you go, and I'll just turn the radio back on. Thanks, guys.
Albert,
bye-bye.
I date myself when I say this, but do you remember those Fram oil field commercials? You had that gruff mechanic under a car, and he was saying, "You can
pay me now, pay me later."
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
You could probably do a commercial like that with wills.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
because
it's amazing what people fight over. The emotions run high, old family, rivalries float to the top, and it's just people become, what I consider unreasonable, and the last thing the person that died wants is for that to happen, and for that, for their family to fight over stuff and stupidity, and the good will do its best to try to solve those problems.
And I'll give an example. This week, I had a come to the Lord talk with a client, because for 2 years, we'll listen. I mean, I told him I'm not a therapist, and if I was, I'd be a terrible therapist, because my sessions would only last about 5 minutes. But I said, I'll listen to you for a little while, but what you're talking about has nothing to do with the legal issue here. You have a disagreement as to what your father did with his money. and how he dispersed it upon death, which I'm sorry that you are hurt, but it's not a legal issue. Now, but what happens a lot of times is the underlying family dynamics that's unresolved bleeds in to the estate process. And if you have ambiguous provisions in a will, or don't have a will, or you have an holographic will that's hard to be interpreted, it is a foothold for all these unresolved issues to bleed in to your litigation, which again, it's a finite pie. And that's what I tell them. I said, this is a finite pie. The more you guys fight, you could win the battle and lose the war. You can actually win your legal issue, but you will have less because of the cost of fighting over this issue. So, there's some economic realities, and it's just an interesting dynamic. And the more the more definitive you are as to what to do upon the death with your estate, the less possibility that these underlying issues can bleed into the estate and tie it up for years. I mean, we have estates that have been open 12, 13 years now because they were not tied up properly. So, it's just a nice little lesson, I guess. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, All Things Legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
After a weekend of football, it's time to second guess. And nobody does it better than the Cajun Cannon, because he's been there, done that. Join Bobby Hebert and NFL analyst Mike Detillier for Second Guess. Mondays at 4 o'clock, live from the Silver Slipper, your host on the coast. Analyze Saints and NFL games like a pro. Second Guess with the two Cajuns, Bobby and Mike. Mondays from 4 p.m. till they get tired of talking on WWL. Thursday, December 9th, Odyssey New Orleans will host Light Up the Season Radiothon, presented by the Ray and Jessica Brandt Family Foundation to raise critical funds for Children's Hospital New Orleans. Help us help kids. Stay tuned to WWL AM and FM for more info.
It was very important to feel like a company valued me and my family's time, specifically helping get the timeshare company off of our backs.
Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, and all the ways you can. I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. I first heard that John Wesley quote when I was 11 years old in Sunday school. I even have his words displayed at all of our offices to give our employees the same purpose I have when fighting to get clients out of a fraudulent timeshare.
If you were not satisfied with other companies, look directly to Wesley Financial and they will help you.
I promise we'll do all the good we can every single day. That's why I guarantee we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991.
Hey folks, Bobby Hebert here. And if you love sports, you need to get ready because sports betting is coming to Louisiana and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel will give you $100 in free site credit when you register early. Register and verify now and you'll receive a free $100 bonus when we're live. FanDuel Sportsbook is safe, secure, and 100% legal and regulated. The app is easy to use. And when you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download FanDuel Sportsbook app and register now to get $100 in free site credit. FanDuel is the official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Go live date. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Want to make this the most unforgettable Christmas? Diamonds Direct is here to help with our most dazzling selection ever and 4 years zero-interest financing. Diamonds Direct showcases are fully stocked with the classics, as well as the latest trendy fashion jewelry from world-class designers. You'll get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for. Plus, spread your payments over 4 years, 48 whole months with zero interest. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Doing your best work from home is not easy when you don't have the right space. California Closets will help you create a custom solution that works for you, your family, and your life. Whether it's a small space, shared space, multifunctional space, or kids space, our professional design consultants will help you get organized and make your space one that works better for you. Now you can love where you live and work. Schedule your free in-home or virtual design consultation today at californiaclosets.com.
Hey y'all, the holidays are here and you're ready to celebrate. Here's what's happening around the state. November 20th through January 6th, Natchitoches Christmas Festival. December 2nd through 4th, Lincoln lights up the pines in Ruston. December 4th, Zwolle Christmas Festival. Food Truck Festival in Slidell. Christmas on the Caddo Fireworks Festival in Oil City. Algiers Bonfire and Concert. So make your plans to laissez les bon temps rouler.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Plan your trip at LouisianaIsATrip.com.
Thursday, December 9th, Odyssey New Orleans will host Light Up the Season Radiothon, presented by the Ray and Jessica Brandt Family Foundation to raise critical funds for Children's Hospital New Orleans. Help us help kids. Stay tuned to WWL AM and FM for more info.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure.
Okay, we have one more short one after this, and we'll go live. No phone calls at the moment.
Life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-568-2790. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-568-2790. 800-568-2790.
Her words weren't written under peaceful shade, but under fear for her life.
I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains.
The words of Anne Frank continue to fill us with hope. Hope. Pass it on from passiton.com.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nico and Sunseri now on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We had our last caller talk about wills and graphic wills and handwritten wills. And, it's sort of interesting, some of the, misconceptions about wills and trust. And having a conversation with attorney in Thibodeau recently. And, there was there still is, a lot of, products that are being sold on the basis that if you do a trust right now, you can avoid probate. And like that, like probate was something that had to be avoided under all circumstances. And in Louisiana, that's really not necessary. In a lot of cases, most cases, unless, I always say you just do a trust if you have a defined specific purpose, but to be doing it, everybody, everybody has a preference, but Albert. Yeah, you go ahead.
Because lawyer, talked you into it. I mean, I saw a fee schedule from this estate lawyer that, to prepare a living trust and a revocable living trust. And basically, unless there's some specific reason, you don't need to go through all that expense. I mean, the fee schedule was probably 3 times what we would typically charge to, probate a will and put the heirs in possession. And it was crazy that I couldn't see a reason why this person would have needed that, but they go to these seminars and, I don't know, it's a hard sell, and they think, oh, this is going to make everything great. And it ends up, unfortunately, many times not being what the customer or the client anticipated.
Well, also too, we end up opening a succession anyway for a lot of these living trust. In other words, I guess let me backtrack. What basically is often sold, I guess, or marketed is, I guess my old boss Dave McDaniels explained the trust was a container, and if you put everything in this container, then that you control, that you will not have to file for probate upon death of one of the what they call the settlers or the grantors in other places, the person who forms this trust or who puts the stuff in the container. And it's really not necessary. And what happens is throughout a lifetime, the settlers is what they call it, or the grantors, do not put everything in the container as they acquire funds, or they're entitled to refunds that are not subject to the container, so that when they pass anyway, you still have to open up an estate, because to either capture the assets that were not originally in the trust or capture the assets that's being refunded. For example, if you go to one of these high-end assisted living, you have to put a big deposit down. And then depending on how long you stay there, you may be entitled to a rebate. And I've had where people had their estate in a living trust, and then the assisted living facility says, we have a couple, $10,000, $15,000 to rebate, but they wouldn't rebate it to the trust, so you ended up needing to file some type of affidavit succession. But there's also pieces of property that is not included, and you end up filing succession.
Yep.
So the bottom line is, it doesn't always accomplish the primary objective of that particular course of action.
Exactly. Listen, really, to change the subject real quickly, I want to talk about something that, a couple of 2-3 different cases I'm handling right now, with for lack of a better term, partners in a limited liability company.
Gotcha.
And I've changed gears real quickly, because I think people need to know. So that it's two men own a business, brothers own a business, don't have an operating agreement. They handle their own affairs. Everything's great. One of them dies. Well, then all of a sudden, one of the brothers says, "You know what, widow of my brother, I'm not paying you any income from this. And the sad part is, when one of the members of an LLC dies and there's no operating agreement, and he leaves his interest to a spouse, a child, a third party, that person that he leaves it to becomes an assignee of that interest. So as a full member, you have rights of control, you have the right to vote, you have the rights for profits and losses and distributions, you have the rights to see the books and records of the company. But if you're an assignee, you don't have any of those rights. The only rights you have among those is a right to a distribution. But if I'm the selfish brother that doesn't want to share in the wealth of the company after all these years, I can just raise my salary.
Right.
And
take all
that
expenses.
person
Right.
that won't get anything. And so, another situation without an operating agreement. There's 3 of us. Everybody thinks I'm a 51% owner. I've told them I'm a 51% owner. I've got the most votes, but it's not written down anywhere. And so if there's no operating agreement, according to it falls back to the default provisions of the law. And in the default provisions of the LLC law, if there's no operating agreement, then each person gets a vote. So now you're a third, you're a minority owner. Those things have to be written down. They have to be taken into account. What if somebody dies? What if somebody is disabled? What if somebody is not performing the task that they were, set up to perform in the operating agreement? What if the company needs more money? Do I have to put up more money, or is And when my partner in the company puts up more money, does he get more of an interest, or is it considered a loan? All of those things need, and those are not like odd, esoteric little quirks of a company. Those are things that happen every day. And, those are the things that need to be considered and addressed. And, I represent the widow, and I have to unfortunately tell her, look, there's not a whole lot I can do. That your husband does not have an operating agreement, and therefore your brother-in-law controls the company. And if he wants to pay you, some sort of profits out of the company, he'll do so. And again, you can't even check to see if he's usurping all the profits, because as an assignee of the company, you can't even look at the books and records. It's craziness. That needs to be changed, honestly. It's one thing to be kind of screwed out of any money from the company, but it's another thing not to be able to even check to see if somebody's screwing you out of the money. That's just something people need to consider. There are a lot of people that, I want to go into business with my buddy, and here we are, we're in business, we're doing this. All of a sudden, one person quits work and one person says, this isn't going quite how I planned. So now what? Now this person is still a 50% owner in the company. Now this person still has a voting rights, and they can block things that you want to do. Buy me out, or I'm going to block, this or that.
Well, normally,
then you have
and
Pollution Act and all things. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, normally what you have is a buyout agreement. In these, if you do an operating agreement, or you might have a side buyout agreement where, upon death of one of the partners, there will be a defined method and a defined source to buy out the deceased member's estate. And those work when they're set up properly. They work like they're supposed to, and you don't have all these other issues. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Welcome to Boardroom Out of Office Podcast with me, Rich Kleiman, entrepreneur and co-founder of 35 Ventures alongside Kevin Durant. Every week I sit down with some of the world's most fascinating thought leaders to bring fans and entrepreneurs alike inside the never-before-heard stories, career trajectories, and key pieces of advice that only come from the kinds of discussions that you can have outside of the office. Listen to Out of Office, a podcast from Cadence 13 and Boardroom, available for
Okay, we're looking at about a little over 4 minutes till the top of the hour break.
Graham here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football. The primetime spotlight hits the AFC West when the division-leading Kansas City Chiefs play host to the Denver Broncos. That lead is one game for the 7-4 Chiefs, with the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers all just one game back. Patrick Mahomes says they're in great position coming off their bye week.
We lost some games close early, and then we took some big lumps and had some big losses that we don't usually have here. But I think you have those leaders that we kind of went back to the drawing board, went back to the fundamentals, and decided to take it week by week, go through the process, trusting the coaching staff. And we're sitting here now with everything in front of us, so we just got to keep that same mindset.
Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos are feeling pretty good as well, thanks to a division win last week over the Chargers. Ryan Radke and Ryan Harris will call the action of the Broncos at the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL.
Okay, we have no one on the phone, so
how long do we have
till the top of the hour?
How long? How many minutes?
For the ones finding new ways to
what was
ensure
that?
the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats.
But for a little over 4 minutes.
Even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From city streets to back roads. From road warrior to carpooler. There are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts, participating CarQuest stores.
It was very important to feel like a company valued me and my family's time, specifically helping get the timeshare company off of our backs.
Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, and all the ways you can. I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. I first heard that John Wesley quote when I was 11 years old in Sunday school. I even have his words displayed at all of our offices to give our employees the same purpose I have when fighting to get clients out of a fraudulent timeshare.
If you were not satisfied with other companies, look directly to Wesley Financial and they will help you.
I promise we'll do all the good we can every single day. That's why I guarantee we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991.
Looking for the perfect gift to offset a not-so-perfect year? Oakland Heart has a huge
Okay, we
selection
have
of
three
fine
short
Swiss
ones
time
after
pieces,
this,
plus the
two
latest
short ones
collections
after
from
this,
David
and we'll
Yurman,
go live.
Kenny Prevost, Mikimoto Pearls, and Marco Bichigo. Shop Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
Monthly subscriptions now available. RejuveMeMedical.com.
Hey, North Shore, we want your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We got about 3 minutes to go. We were talking about if you own a LLC or you're a partner in an LLC and you pass, and talking about the limited rights of your estate or your spouse in connection with your passing if there's no operating agreement, if there's no defined method of buying out that deceased partner's estate. And, basically it's an assignee, which I guess would be a lot like a limited partner with they get some rights to some profits. But, profits in a small LLC can be modified by expensing out salary. you can take take the profit out of a company by taking more salary. But that's often
or taking more expenses. Yeah.
Just expense out a lot more.
Yeah, we need to take this trip to Florida for our business, and I'm getting an all expense paid trip, and I'm going to write it off so it's not a profit any longer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creative ways to do that.
Yeah, and but you talk about this a lot of times before you form the corporation, and that's what a lot of times you do with a lawyer. I call it sort of like if you grew up, got married in a Catholic church, it's called pre-Canaan, where where the priest will ask, the potential husband and wife, how many children do you want? And one says 8, and the other says none, and it goes, oh, we might have an issue here.
Exactly.
So basically, you do the same thing when you go into an LLC, and they cover a lot of the questions that you were referring to in the last segment.
Exactly. Well, and again, I get why the law provides for an assignee. In other words, you and I might be in business together, but you may not want to be in business with my wife if I pass away, because she knows nothing about the business. She's never participated in the business. She's had her own whatever. And so, you don't want that person coming in and making decisions, having a vote and all that sort of thing. But I certainly would want my spouse protected in terms of either a buyout or some sort of stream of income or some sort of protection from the LLC. Whenever I write an LLC document, I protect the assignees. I let them see the books and records. Not every week, but I mean, they at least annually can see the tax returns. They can see the, other than a K-1, they can see the P&L statements for year end. And that way they know, okay, wait a minute, this is being, I'm being taken advantage of, or I'm not. And it kind of leaves the remaining member or members, holds them a little bit accountable to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm entitled to a distribution. All of a sudden your salary tripled from last year. What's the deal?
So yeah. I mean, again, if there's an inequitable event, an event that occurs that causes an inequitable outcome, whether it's not defined, it's a recipe for litigation. And basically, I think it's every goal of every businessman or anybody to stay out of our offices, because you want to plan things in a way where you don't need well, I'm saying offices. You want to stay out the courthouse on contested litigation. So and that's one of the ways of doing that.
Right.
That's right. Because and you're talking about assignees. That's why they have that. Because if you're a heart surgeon, you don't want to go into business with a non-heart surgeon who's a spouse, because it's just this just doesn't work. So, all right. Well, that's hour number one, all things legal. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for hour number two. We're on till 10 o'clock. So we're going to go to national news, local news, and we'll be back in 10. See you then on all things legal.
Home of the Saints and LSU. WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. Still learning more about that Omicron variant.
Currently, the preliminary data is showing it's at least as infectious as Delta, but there's also some concern that it could be even more infectious. Infectiousness doesn't necessarily mean more severe case of the virus. It's not confuse the two. I have concerns with the Delta variant first and foremost, because that is still the most dominant one, and we already know what it could cause.
Dr. Jose Mayorga at the University of Irvine, California Medical Center. Chris Cuomo has been booted.
CNN has fired primetime host Chris Cuomo for becoming involved in a big way in his brother's efforts to stay governor of New York in the face of sexual harassment accusations. Now both are out.
CBS's Tom Foti. The parents and the teenager accused in the shooting deaths of 4 classmates in Oxford, Michigan, are behind bars. Sheriff Michael J. Bouchard says they'll probably be there for a while.
They are in our jail, all 3 of them, the son and both parents. They are segregated, each individually, in isolation. We have advanced watch on them.
James and Jennifer Crumbly charged with involuntary manslaughter. They provided the gun used in the shootings. That Kellogg strike might soon be over.
1,400 workers at 4 Kellogg plants will vote on a new 5-year contract today. Robert Jensen, who works at Kellogg's Omaha, Nebraska plant, says the company needs their expertise.
Just isn't enough skilled craftsmen to fill all these openings.
Kellogg's cereals include Frosted Flakes, Corn Flakes, Rice Krispies, and Special K.
CBS's Jim Krasula. Workers are calling for better pay and benefits. One of Hawaii's senators says the federal government will help clean up the water contamination at Hawaii's naval base.
They said this would never happen.
Senator Brian Schatz said he told White House officials that the military's lax approach to the Red Hill water contamination requires civilian oversight from agencies like the EPA, FEMA, and the Department of Energy.
This has to be treated like a nuclear reactor, not a piece of old infrastructure.
Days after they were criticized for their apparent slow reaction, the Navy says its cleanup and restoration efforts are in full gear.
Rick Daysog of KGMB says many military families have to stay at hotels. The pandemic has worsened isolation among older adults.
On the phone, online, and in video calls, groups match people in their 60s and older with young people based on common interests and experiences. Experts say when older adults talk to one another, they often focus on emotional and physical pain and who has died. But people of different generations engage in a more upbeat kind of dialogue.
CBS's Christopher Cruz. And this is CBS News.
Today, better nutrition and great taste are more important than ever. That's why Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. And that's healthy news for everyone. Only Eggland's Best.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Get off the debt treadmill and stop the harassment. Get free of credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and medical bills. Call now at 800-533-6605 for free information. For about 10 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands. They're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, too. Get off the endless cycle without having to declare bankruptcy. You'll have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call Total Financial now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM/FM.com.
It's a quiet but foggy start to our morning across southeast Louisiana. Widespread dense fog possible through the morning, and I do expect the fog to lift around 9-10 o'clock this morning, leaving us with partly cloudy skies. Temperatures will once again climb into the upper 70s this afternoon, fairly quiet conditions, and tonight mostly cloudy skies with low temperatures falling into the middle 60s. As we head into your Monday, a cold front is expected to move through the area, not really bringing cooler air, but it is going to bring some showers and isolated thunderstorms, and temperatures once again are expected to climb into the upper 70s.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan. New Orleans Police Department are investigating a homicide that occurred early this morning at the intersection of Carondelet and Lafayette Streets. Just after midnight, 8th District officers responded to reports of an aggravated battery by shooting at that location. Upon arrival, they discovered an adult man with multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was transported to a local hospital where he was declared dead. No additional details are available at this time. Meanwhile, in Jefferson Parish, a Harvey man was found shot to death around 4:30 this morning. Deputies responding to a hotel found the victim inside a room at a West Bank Expressway hotelry. The victim was pronounced dead on the scene. Anyone with information regarding this incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers. A returning cruise ship has brought back at least 10 passengers infected with COVID-19. The Norwegian Breakaway sailed from New Orleans November 27th to ports in Mexico, Belize, and Honduras. The 10 are in quarantine and are all on the liners, and all of the liner's 3,200 passengers will be screened before they disembark the ship. The governor, Louisiana Department of Health, the city of New Orleans, and the port of New Orleans are aware of the outbreak and are working to ensure public safety. There's bad news for St. Tammany criminal justice. We get the latest from WWL TV's Paul Dudley.
St. Tammany Parish is undergoing spending cuts that will affect the criminal justice system next year. According to a report by NOLA.com, this has prompted Sheriff Randy Smith and several judges to call on the parish council to restore their funding. The parish council adopted the $112 million budget. This will provide less than half of the funding those criminal justice agencies had sought. Agencies had asked for nearly $32 million, and the budget only provides $14 million.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Another morning where we're dealing with widespread fog across the area. Now, the fog is pretty dense in a few spots, especially over our lakes and rivers. It is expected to linger throughout most of the morning, mixing out as we get closer to the 8-9 o'clock hour. So watch out for that if you're commuting early this morning. Now, this afternoon looks fairly nice under partly cloudy skies, dry, and temperatures climbing into the upper 70s. As we head into tonight, lots of clouds across the area and fog once again possible through tonight and tomorrow morning, with overnight temperatures falling into the middle 60s. I am looking at a cold front that is expected to move through the area tomorrow, and it is going to fire up some showers and also isolated thunderstorms through the morning and the afternoon hours, and a few of those thunderstorms may become strong at times, so look out for that, and once again temperatures climbing into the upper 70s Monday afternoon. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Hour number 2, we're on till 10 o'clock. Saints are we on next week? I think they're playing the Jets, right? So we won't be on next week.
Yeah, I think they play at noon.
Yeah, I don't think the Saints and Jets will be a primetime game for some reason.
Not a 3 o'clock game or a Thursday night game or any of that.
Yeah, so we get to sleep late next weekend. But I think in December we'll be on a little bit. So did you watch Thursday night, the Saints game against Dallas?
I went, actually, to the game.
Did you went?
Yeah,
it
was, as poorly, I don't want to say poorly, but as much as we struggled, we were one bad play away. At the end of the game, I think it was a 10-point game, and there was a pick six that made it a quick 7-point game, and we're down by 3, right? Sometimes, from what I understand, too, Taysom Hill injured his finger, his middle finger, and his throwing hand, and they kept him in the game. I mean, he came off the field, went 10th, and I think they put a splint on his throwing hand, and so he was throwing ducks after that. Go put Trevor Siemian in, and let him finish it out. Let Taysom Hill carry the football and do what he does best. But sometimes I think Sean Payton gets a little too cute for himself. He'll call timeouts at the wrong time. He'll I guess when you have Drew Brees back there in a powerhouse offense, and they're kind of pinned back, you want to call that timeout maybe and save you some time at the end of a quarter. I mean, at the end of the half. But it's just it gets frustrating to watch sometimes when your best player is hurt, and you got 2 backup offensive tackles in the game, and you really have a backup quarterback in the game, and you're trying to coach like you still have Alvin Kamara and Drew Brees and a stable of wide receivers that can get you down the field quickly. So I think he needs to adjust to his personnel, and I don't know how effectively he's doing that. But
my prediction,
quarterback.
Yeah, my prediction in the beginning of the year was 7-10, and I was hoping to be wrong.
Yeah, well, there have been 5 in a row, so that's pretty much of a slide.
I guess the question would be, if they win, hopefully with 7 teams in the playoffs, 9 and 7 may get you in. Even an 8 and 8 may get you in under certain circumstances, depending on how things fall. And once you get into the playoffs, it's a different deal. In other words, it's a new season, and really anything. Tampa's a good example of that. I mean, we wiped out Tampa last year twice in the regular season, and they came in and won. And so, I guess the initial goal is to get into the playoffs, and the bar is not quite as high with the 7 slots. And so, if they get
and everybody's 6 and 6. I mean, it's a lot of teams there's a handful of teams that are winning, and then everybody else is kind of in that middle section. So if they could turn it around, put it together, beat the Jets next week, win a couple of division games, then who knows, right? You might sneak in the playoffs, but kind of reminds me of Jim Moore, right? Playoffs.
Yes. Well, I always say the difference between 7 and 10 and 11 and 6, or 6 and 11 and 10 and 7. 10 and 7 is maybe 3 or 4 plays made at the right time, and as of now, they have not made those plays to be in that position where they're control their own destiny in the playoffs. But in the next 5 games, these teams that are bunched up at 5-5, the ones that go 4-1 are going to make it, and the ones that go 2-3, 3-2, may not. So it's an opportunity. I don't know the healing on Taysom's finger. He's not, accuracy is not his hallmark to begin with, and then if you take away his finger, middle finger, it further compromises that. And also he had that foot injury, which they didn't want him running quite as much, or the foot injury, they didn't want to put him out there sooner, so he was dealing with that also. So, but I guess they deal with injuries. That's part of the game. So it'll be interesting.
It's next man up. Dallas had that same issue when Dak Prescott was hurt. They had to try to keep it together until he came back. So, it's something that happens all over the league. But again, I just think I think it was in Peyton's head that he wanted to start and play Taysom, and even after he got hurt, and like you said, wasn't the most accurate guy to begin with, and now it complicates that. It makes that worse. You put the guy in that can go in and control the game. It was a close enough game where we just didn't need those couple of interceptions at the end of the game that Taysom may not have made, and all of his passes were low. They had to dive for him, the ones that were completed.
I think the other thing,
I don't know.
Also, too, there's a huge deficiency at wide receiver and tight end. Just huge deficiency.
One of the reasons why Simeon was holding the ball too long. He's waiting for somebody to make a break, waiting for some separation, and doesn't want to throw it because I don't know that you've got. Kenny Stills is. He's been dropping more balls than
he's on the downside.
Than anybody.
Yeah, he's on the downside
of
his career.
Go up, make a play, and so you gotta. I don't know if you watched the who was it that played last night? In the Georgia game, the tight end for Georgia. This kid was going up and just getting the ball and stealing it. I was like, this is a guy that is an NFL quality tight end. He's going to, it's going to be a jump ball. Either I'm going to get it or nobody's going to get it.
Right.
And but we don't have that. We don't have that player that's going to really go make that play for the quarterback. I can see why they throw into traffic.
They don't have anybody also with separation speed except Harris. I think Harris is probably their best receiver as far as playmaking, explosive plays, and it's just a deficiency they'll have to address next year. And I think one of the things with having Drew is a lot of deficiencies are covered by him. In other words,
he makes them.
They're just covered by him, so therefore they're not exposed. Is probably the best way of putting it. And now, and I always said, I said, we're going to look back on the 15 years that Drew was here, and you say that's a once in a lifetime situation. There'll never be a quarterback in the history of the Saints that will have the impact on him. They might have someone in 1 or 2 years who might do that, but it's not going to be over the course of 15 years, which what happens is you take it for granted. You just take it for granted. He's just that good. And, completing 70 some odd.
What he did with wide receivers. You look at Marcus Colston, you look at Michael Thomas. Drew Brees made them who they were. It's no secret that they had the most receptions in a year because Drew would do a 7-yard slant and they'd pick up 7 yards, 8 yards, and then he would do a little quick button hook and he'd pick up 7 or 8 yards. And so those are the kinds of things that, and I think Michael Thomas knew this. He knew that, wait a minute, I'm making this money. If I come back, who's going to throw to me? Not Jameis Winston. He's not accurate. Not Taysom Hill. He's not that accurate. I don't want to come play. I don't want to come play and damage my ability to go play somewhere else and go play for a quarterback that can, that can get me the ball. And so,
what happens to wide? What happens to wide receivers in the NFL? Why do they become divas? You go back from Terrell Owens on down. OBJ, just Des Bryant. I mean, my goodness, they need to send them to some type of humility class. You're going to be a wide receiver in the superstar wide receiver. You got to go to humility class, and realize that you're just a human being. But something happens to them. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But
the days of Jerry Rice are over, I guess, right?
Fred Biletnikoff, he just ran down the field, caught the ball, gave it to the referee, and lined up for the next play. Cliff
Lynn
Branch,
Swan,
Lynn Swan. There you go.
Those guys, right?
Yes.
They just play football and love being out there. We're happy to make money doing it.
I don't know, man. They just need something because from all indications, I don't know. It seemed like that contract did something to Michael Thomas that was not positive. You go two ways when you get a $140 million contract or whatever. You're going to work hard or be thankful and have a lot of gratitude that you have this opportunity and say, I'm going to prove the team right in investing in this in me. Or I'm going to say, I have the money. Now I'm in control of the situation and the world revolves around me. And I'm not going to be mindful of anybody else. So, I tell you what, man, if I gave somebody $140 million and they did what he did, I'd be beyond upset.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I would be just
saw the handwriting on the wall. Who's going to throw the ball to me? I'm not going out there and catching one pass, two passes a game, and then all of a sudden my production goes down. Everybody's going to say I wasn't worth the money, and when they want to trade me to some other team, they're not going to want to pay me.
Yeah, well, they would say the proper way would be the American way of saying it is they've invested in me. Under difficult circumstances, I'm going to double up my effort and try even harder to make my new quarterback look good. But anyway, that's All right, so let's go to a break. This is a lost show. We'll get into it. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
WWL is your home team, home of the New Orleans Saints, home of the LSU Fighting Tigers.
We have have a call coming in.
For all pro analysis of the teams you love, catch Sports Talk with Bobby Hebert, Christian Garrick, and Mike Detillier, weekdays 4 to 8 p.m. Then game day, turn up the home team. WWL.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real life.
The caller was not legally inclined, so he hung up.
Lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Some people bring joy wherever they go. Some whenever they go. Mark Twain found humor all around. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Humor. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Dornex has the deals to help you enjoy this holiday season, and you can start with the USDA Black Angus Choice Top Sirloin Steaks for only $5.99 a pound. Come on in and shop easy with Dornex deals at Dornex Food Center.
Family owned, family operated, family service.
DraftKings Sportsbook is coming soon to Louisiana. It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving customers $100 in free bets when you sign up before they go live. No deposit required. DraftKings is bringing their experience as a leader in daily fantasy sports to the sports betting world and have created one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BIG870 when you sign up. Those who sign up right now will get $100 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Louisiana. That's code BIG870 to get $100 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. 7867. 21 and over. Louisiana only. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions.
Do you want a pay raise and health insurance for you and your dependents at no additional cost? UA Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 60 here in New Orleans is looking for experienced plumbers, pipe fitters, HVAC mechanics, and apprentices of all levels. UA Local 60 is offering you a career, not a job. Make a good living while earning a pension to retire comfortably. Join an organization that puts its members and their families first. Call UA Local 60 now at 504-201-4102 or visit ualocal60.org.
If you have Medicare, join People's Health for an educational seminar to learn about your options. People's Health has plans with benefits beyond original Medicare, like $0 drugs, dental, vision, fitness, and over-the-counter items, to name a few. This year, give yourself the gift of People's Health. Visit peopleshealth.com to find a meeting location and time near you. That's peopleshealth.com for a meeting near you. Registration's encouraged but not required. There's no obligation to enroll.
Hey, nice party. Yeah, what's new with you? Did you know blue whales in Hawaii can be heard off the coast of California? What? And time travel to the future may actually be possible. How is that? I discovered it on CuriosityStream. I'm listening. You can stream thousands of shows on nature, history, science, and so much more. Cool.
I got Jimmy coming up here from Gretna has needs some Ida information, insurance.
CuriosityStream.com. CuriosityStream.com. I said CuriosityStream.com.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Before we go to Jimmy on the line, I have to correct myself. It was text that they had 10,000 people, a little over 10,000 at the state championship game with Jesuit and Catholic High. So my estimating capabilities from the field is obviously greatly compromised. But it was a lot of Jesuit, a lot of Catholic. It was a great environment, and we saw your friend, Coach Chris Jennings, who's been coaching at Jesuit for basketball for 30 some odd years. Albert,
pretty close, yeah.
And he told me first he loves when we talk about his 3-point capability. The fact that they didn't have a 3-point line when he played. Because if they did, he would probably still be playing. And the second thing he said was he's a better shooter than Pierre Godin, from De La Salle. So, sorry, Pierre.
I'd probably agree with that.
You agree with that? He said Pierre is a better playmaker, penetrator, but he said Chris said I'm a better shooter. So, but he says he can. Coach Chris says he can't shoot anymore when somebody's guarding him. He said that's the only difference now.
Well, that's for sure. But we had a OTMAC, this little club we're in. It's a sports club. It was a championship game, and we used to play on Sunday night, and it was Jazz Fest Sunday. And Chris is a big Jazz Fest fan, and so he comes from Jazz Fest, and his team is losing 12-2 with and it's like 4 8-minute quarters, right? And so he's losing 12-2. He shows up 5 minutes into the first quarter, shoots 4 threes, and they go in, lose. They're winning 14-12 at the end of the first quarter. End of the game, he shoots 2 free throws to win the game 74-73. Chris had 70 points. He had, and this was the championship game. The other team was good. They had 73 points total. Chris had 70 points. All right. It was crazy. He did like 3 4-point plays. It was nuts.
Now, I told Chris we podcast, and you can listen to this about him as many times as he wants now. So, all right. All right, let's go to phone lines. We hadn't talked anything about Hurricane Ida, which, quite frankly, there is other things we could talk about. But we got Jimmy who's got a question regarding Hurricane Ida claim from Gretna. Hey, Jimmy, how can we help you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. What's happening?
Man, since y'all are talking about festivals, come down to the Orange Festival today in Plaquemines Parish. All the free advice you've given all those people over the years, the least they could do is give y'all some free charbroiled oysters at the booth.
Oh.
Yeah, come on down. There's today at Fort Jackson. I'm going down there.
Oh, beautiful day for it, too. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, man. Come get some charbroiled oysters down in Buras. Buras at Fort Jackson all day today. No, yeah, look, I'll make it real quick.
No, you got plenty of time.
Okay. Okay, so my question to you is this. What is the expiration there? Is there a timeline, or is there like a general consensus rule of how long your claim can be processed? Because I put a claim in with my insurance company, kind of going back and forth over some roof issues. Of course, there's a shortage of contractors. You know, they're trying to lowball me. But how long can I go back and forth with them on this claim? Like after, say, the storm happened in late August, I put the claim in late September. So is there a timeline, or does it depend per insurance company, or is that when the insurance commissioner steps in? And you know, I tried to funnel in all the evacuation costs to this, and they basically, you know, poo-pooed that. So I just want to get your take on that, and really, what's the timeline? How long do I have to go back and forth with them on this claim with the contractors and whatnot?
All right, Albert.
You'll have 2 years to file suit, and that's basically it. At some point, you know, it's either go or get off the pot, right? So look, we're going to work this out, or we're not. And so, you know, if nothing happens within 2 years from the date of the storm, you'll need to get a hold of a lawyer to file a lawsuit on your behalf to, you know, and honestly, at some point you might want to get a lawyer involved before that. One of the problems, the main problem I think the general public has in trying to negotiate their own claim is what is satisfactory proof of loss, right? So you have to give that adjuster satisfactory proof of loss. So it doesn't mean he wants to pay you for a square of shingle and you need a new roof. So you just send him an estimate from a roofer for a new roof. That's not going to do it. That's just an estimate showing how much a new roof will cost. What you need is a statement from that roofer, and it really should be a licensed Louisiana roofer that's been in business a long time, that can come along and say, you need a new roof, and here is why. And here are some photographs. We actually went on the roof, and we lifted the seal tabs, and we saw the edges of the tiles, the shingles, and the granules were gone, and the gutters were filled with granules, and so it's lost its life expectancy. You need a new roof. And so those are the kinds of things that a person needs to be able to do to establish, you know, and photograph and document and give them what is satisfactory proof of loss, not just an estimate from a roofer. That's usually not going to do it. And it does not set them up for penalties, because it's like, well, prove to me that you need a new roof. That is your burden. And so yeah, I'm not sure how much you've done that. If you just, like I said, if you just sent some estimates from people, you need to show why. You need to send photographs. You need to say, look, I got staining on my ceiling right under this, or I've got, you know, my floors are warped, and here's some photographs of it. You guys didn't even see it, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, they'll either send somebody back out, or you know, they should pay that additional cost.
All right.
He had hung up.
Okay. And, you know, I think that's the, you know, it's this quantifying the damages and causation. And, you know, really a good analogy I give is, you know, what do claims adjusters do? They're like hockey goalies. Every time you flip the puck to them, they're going to figure out a way to flip it back at you and keep it out the net. And, you know, what you're going to have to do is, you know, first, as Albert said, you quantify your damages, and that's hard. That's very difficult. You know, preferably, and it's hard to do that, if you could quantify the damages with someone who had an Xactimate computer program, that helps make it more digestible for the insurance company. It's not requirement, but it would help facilitate that. Two is to have a statement on causation and a statement from the professional on not only the damage, how much damage is cost, but it was caused by the hurricane. And if you can get all that information together, you document the fact that you had submitted this proof of loss or satisfactory proof of loss to the insurance company, and you tell them the clock is running. And another good idea is to document each and every communication you have with the insurance company. Because at some point, if it does not get resolved, you're going to have to go to a mediation or you're going to have to go into litigation. And then if you go to litigation, 99.9% time, you're going to be in a mediation. And if you have all your claim information documented, all your communications with the insurance company documented, follow-up emails, it is easier to make your case as to not only what your damages are, but then you can start talking about the fact that they could be penalties and attorney's fees if you go to the next level. Now, the insurance company will never pay penalties and attorney's fees during a mediation, but what they may do is if they see they're exposed or vulnerable to that issue, they may not nickel and dime you on some of the issues they would otherwise and have a higher value for the claim. So it's a lot of work to process your claim. It requires man hours, it requires time, a lot of effort, and that's basically what you need to do. And
we need a break.
You need to get that hockey puck past the goalie into the net. And I don't know if making hockey analogies in South Louisiana is very effective. Maybe soccer would be better with the goalie, but basically, that's it is tough. It's a very difficult process. That's why we spend a lot of time on it to give information, and hopefully that information is helpful. And if the insurance adjusters know that what the law is, how to participate in the process, how to they will be maybe have a different take on your claim and maybe want to resolve it sooner. So
there you go.
All right. Well, let's go to a break. One final comment.
Real quick, so a big shout out to Dave Satanovich, Tommy's cousin, who is the king of the Orange Festival down in Belle Chase this weekend.
I was about to say, Albert's probably got the benefit of as many charballed oysters as he won based on his business relationship with the Satanovich family. So, and what are the odds that the king of a Orange Festival in Plaquemines Parish last name would be Satanovich? Would that be
right? Some itch, right?
Some itch. Yeah.
Well, his aunt, that's Gloria Drago's sister, was the Orange Queen, 50 years ago or something when she was young. So he was all proud to carry on that tradition
under the Lyndon Johnson administration at that time. I got you.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
After Saints games, we all Monday morning quarterback. But Coach Payton and his
Okay, I've got three callers holding. The first is Jube, Jube. Metairie, an insurance question. I have Vernon from Metairie, who has a question about the title. And I have Sam from Gretna with a question about insurance.
Radio Network, WWL. Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou, a term provider, 800-568-2790. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2.
Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
Her words weren't written under peaceful shade, but under fear for her life.
I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains.
The words of Anne Frank continue to fill us with hope. Hope. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Thursday, December 9th, Odyssey New Orleans will host Light Up the Season Radiothon, presented by the Ray and Jessica Brandt Family Foundation to raise critical funds for Children's Hospital New Orleans. Help us help kids. Stay tuned to WWL AM and FM for more info.
Hey folks, Bobby Hebert here. And if you love sports, you need to get ready because sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel will give you $100 in free site credit when you register early. Register and verify now, and you'll receive a free $100 bonus when we're live. FanDuel Sportsbook is safe, secure, and 100% legal and regulated. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download FanDuel Sportsbook app and register now to get $100 in free site credit. FanDuel is the official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Go live date. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
I'm Erin, and this is my life with California Closets. I purchased a historic home that's over 150 years old. One of the biggest things old houses don't have is closet storage and organization. And in a modern life, you really need to store a lot of things. Working with California Closets was the only way to get exactly what I needed. It really makes my life better. I finally have my dream home, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it.
Schedule your free design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com.
Want to make this the most unforgettable Christmas? Diamonds Direct is here to help with our most dazzling selection ever and 4 years zero-interest financing. Diamonds Direct showcases are fully stocked with the classics, as well as the latest trendy fashion jewelry from world-class designers. You'll get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for. Plus, spread your payments over 4 years, 48 whole months with zero interest. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
It was very important to feel like a company valued me and my family's time, specifically helping get the timeshare company off of our backs.
Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, and all the ways you can. I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. I first heard that John Wesley quote when I was 11 years old in Sunday school. I even have his words displayed at all of our offices to give our employees the same purpose I have when fighting to get clients out of a fraudulent timeshare.
If you were not satisfied with other companies, look directly to Wesley Financial and they will help you.
I promise we'll do all the good we can every single day. That's why I guarantee we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991.
Man, there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Definitely. I mean, there's 3 million shows, 50 million episodes, and more every day.
I mean, who has the time to figure out which ones are the best podcasts?
We do. That too. What's up, guys? I am Alicia Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
And we are your hosts of Pod Sauce, a podcast discovery show.
Okay, here we go after this one.
Podcast concierge.
We do all the work for you. We listen to the shows, review them,
pick the best episodes, and interview the hosts.
Pod Sauce. Let us help you find your next binge. Tell them where to go, Dax.
Go to podsauce.com.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Jube. I think that's Jube. He's got an Ida question, Hurricane Ida question. How can we help you, Jube?
Good morning. Actually, I called for something different. I made a mistake. I want you guys to elaborate a little bit. Of course, you know when you getting your home repaired from a contractor, you know things could go wrong, and it could be both sides. It could be the contractor's fault or the homeowner's fault. Well, my question is, or should I say, I'd like to get some information on liens from a contractor standpoint. If a contractor haven't, I guess, did the proper paperwork in the beginning, is it possible to still file a lien for non-payment? And can you elaborate on it? How do you do it? And so forth and so on.
All right, Albert, that's you.
So first of all, the contractor has to be licensed. So you need to be licensed with the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors, either as a residential contractor, as have a home improvement certificate, or have just a contractor's license. It could be a commercial license even, but that it limits you up to $75,000 on a resident. After $75,000, you would actually have to have the licensed contractor from a residential contractor, residential contractor. If you are licensed properly, so liens are not favored, right? They don't want the legislature does not want people tying up property improperly, and so they want to make sure that everything is exactly right. And if it is more than $100,000 in the contract, in the construction contract, you have to file a notice of contract prior to any work being done. They raised that from 25. It used to be 25,000. Now it's 100. So that would, 90% of repairs are probably below the $100,000 mark. But you have to put the
the one that I did was $85,000.
Okay, so if it's $85,000, you need to be properly licensed. You need to actually have a residential contractor's license because it's over $75,000. And if you do, then you can put a lien on it. It has to have the property description. It's got to have the owner of the property. It's got to have the amount of the claim, and it needs to be filed and recorded in the parish where the property is located. And then at that point, you have 1 year from the date of filing to file a lawsuit to collect that money.
Okay, so I guess the question that I'm asking, what you just described is if you haven't filed properly, right, in the beginning. Because I was reading on the internet that, like you just mentioned, you have to do some things in the beginning, but I never did. And I'm trying to see what are my leverage for filing a lien after the fact. Like this client owes me, I want to say it's like $10,000, almost $11,000, $10,400, and I want to place a lien on her property.
Well, how long has it been since the work was completed?
It's been, let's see, we're in December now. It was in October. It was right before Halloween, so it was in October, like the 15th of October or something like that.
Yeah, you need to probably get it done quickly. You got 60 days to get that filed. You did not need to file a notice of contract prior to the work being done because it was less than $100,000. So yeah, you just need to file a properly lien. That's something we can handle for you. We do them pretty regularly, but you want to do that to protect that interest. Now, this doesn't mean you can't file suit if you don't file a lien or if the lien's not timely or not properly filed. You don't lose your right to file suit against that person. What it does is it gives you a privilege against that real estate. And so if that real estate is sold or transferred for any reason, they have to come to the table and pay off that lien. But but you still have the right to bring a lawsuit against them to collect the money.
But you say that that's all within 1 year. So what happens if a year goes by? Let's say I file it now.
No. Okay, yeah. So you got to file a lawsuit to enforce the lien. You have up to 10 years on a breach of contract case to file suit for failing to failing to pay you. So, you have a longer period of time to collect your money, is what I'm saying. But if you do file a lien, you have to file suit within 1 year to enforce that lien, if that makes sense. If you don't,
right, and that's what I'm saying.
If you don't, that lien goes away, but you still have the right to file a lawsuit.
We're going to need a break after this.
Homeowner for not paying, even if your lien goes away.
Okay. I see. So if it goes away after a year, I have to refile it, is what you're saying?
No, you have to file a lawsuit, not a lien. You have to file an ordinary proceeding against them, and they answer the lawsuit, and you litigate it.
Right. But that lien is dead, because I want to make sure that property, I do want to make sure that it's held up. So how do I keep it?
Yeah, you need to get your liens filed timely.
All right.
Okay.
All right, my man.
Okay, no problem.
We got to go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Good explanation from Albert on his wheelhouse of instruction. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Looking for the perfect gift of jewelry that will bring joy to the one you love? Listen to this online review from Bree. At Oakwyn Hart, the combination of super high-quality pieces and friendly, helpful, down-to-earth service is unbeatable. Believe me, I've been to every jewelry store in town at this point. Save yourself some time and head straight to Oakwyn Hart. Is Bree the best?
Okay, we will have about 6 minutes. Make that 5 minutes. Some change. Time to talk to Vernon about a title question.
Truly impressive. In other words, huge selection of fine Swiss time.
Say again, please.
As well as the latest collection.
Sam is still on. Yes.
Designers. We're talking David Yurman, Penny Preval, Miki.
I'm sorry, Sam is first. I'm sorry. You're absolutely correct with an insurance question. Sam and then Vernon if we have time.
Gotcha.
Blow her away this year. Have her singing "There's a Great Work of Art in Every Box" from Oakwyn Hart on Metairie Road.
At MD Anderson Cancer Center, our thoracic subspecialists are raising the standard in lung cancer care. We use advanced genomic testing to develop personalized therapies for each patient's cancer. With leading-edge technology like proton therapy, gamma knife and robotic surgery, and innovative clinical trials, we'll do whatever it takes to help our patients face and overcome lung cancer. Learn more at mdandersonlungcancer.com.
For fast relief, call Keith. Did you know there are more pollutants inside than outside your home? Those pollutants can aggravate colds, asthma, sleep habits, and respiratory ailments. Keith's AC Heating and Electrical can install a state-of-the-art air quality system to remove virtually all the contaminants in your home. Call them today and save $250 off your new indoor air quality system. For a healthier home, for better breathing, and for fast relief, call Keith. Keith's Air Conditioning and Heating.
And now electrical.
For fast relief, call Keith.
WWL is the lifeline of the Louisiana community. And so, when it comes to our coffee, there's only one choice. Community Coffee, the official coffee of WWL. Thursday, December 9th, Odyssey New Orleans will host Light Up the Season Radiothon, presented by the Ray and Jessica Brandt Family Foundation to raise critical funds for Children's Hospital New Orleans. Help us help kids. Stay tuned to WWL AM and FM for more info.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-568-2790. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-568-2790. 800-568-2790.
Some people bring joy.
Going live after this one.
Some whenever they go. Mark Twain found humor all around. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Humor. Pass it on from passiton.com.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nico and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Let's go straight to the phone lines. Got about 5 minutes before the end of the show. Let's go to Sam's got a Hurricane Ida insurance question. Hey, Sam, how can we help you?
Yeah, Mr. Sunseri, Mr. Nico, appreciate all the information, and also you and Mr. Sunseri on Tuesday night. I have one concession from the insurance company. They've agreed to replace the roof, but things are neutral. I was trying to get, my paperwork appraisal because it's, the amount seemed a little bit low, but not being a roofer, just kind of like, I'm not going to get a roof for that much. Well, anyway, they claim this, when I was trying to get my paperwork, I said, now, how long is this going to take before y'all have like the initial check of the undisputed amount? That way I could at least get started. Oh, well, we sent that out already in October 20th. Now, when I called them about my paperwork, it was the 5th of November, right? Mm-hmm. I said, no, I didn't get anything. No correspondence, no like disclaimer. And it was like stuff explaining, hey, look, this initial payment, like you and your wife have said, Ms. Nico said that this is not the final settlement. This is to get it started. And there's, the supplement. No, it's like the legalese, the insurance guy stuff, right? No correspondence whatsoever from them or my agent. No communication between them or my agent. I started pestering my agent, and they're blowing him off even. He's trying to advocate on my behalf, which has evolved into him doing their job. Now, they said they canceled first check and sent out a second check. Now, not from me, but through him pleading with them and pestering them, they sent them a copy of the first check. No proof it was sent out. The second check was supposedly sent out November 12th. There's no proof of that, not even a copy of a check or a check number.
Well, they have 30 days to get.
The post office is good at losing stuff, but would they specifically lose all my correspondence in 2 checks? I highly doubt it. They're not that efficient.
Okay, the biggest thing you could be doing right now, because you can't control what they do and don't do, is to document what they're doing. In other words,
that's another thing too. I don't have an adjuster.
Well, no, I know, but do you have an insurance company?
My paperwork goes to an adjustment department.
Yeah, well,
so
send it to them.
I have no one specifically to email.
So they have some type of contact point. And if they're an insurance company, they would have an email. If they're not, you fax it to them. They'll have a fax number. But the important thing,
they have the general email, but that goes into file 13. File 13,
Well, then send it to but what you want to, the purpose of documenting is if this doesn't get resolved, okay, then you have a good timeline as to what occurred so that you can argue penalties and attorney's fees, which will make the insurance company believe they're vulnerable in any type of claim, and they might haggle with you less about certain issues they would normally nickel and dime you on. That's probably the best way of saying it.
And the other thing, and if you get your insurance agent involved, ask him to please copy you on every email correspondence he sends, or send you an email saying, yes, I called today and I left a message with Joe Smith. And so that way, when the time comes, you can get his correspondence and his emails to show that we even got the agent involved, and here's the agent's file. And, and so if he copies you on those emails, you then can introduce those emails to show that, hey, this is the email that I received on my email address, where he contacted the insurance company and still no response even to the agent that wrote the policy.
Yeah, from the information from Mr. and Mrs. Sunseri on Tuesday nights, I tried doing that. I said, hey, look, I've asked them by my email like 4 or 5 times. I said, I want all the emails between you and these goobers on my behalf. I still haven't gotten that. Now, when it goes just to the general email of the insurance company, then it's file 13. That's why they're doing that, plausible deniability.
All right. Well, just absolutely. Even document the fact to everyone that you're not getting those emails. Because what you want to do is to have a third person read what occurred, can follow it very succinctly, and look over to the insurance company in a mediation or a judge and say, you really screwed up on this. You're going to have to make this right. That's ultimately what you can do. You can't force them at this point to do anything.
2 minutes.
You can document what they're not doing, so that when you get to that point where you have, the day of reckoning, however that's going, whatever day that's going to be, through a mediation or through litigation or however you get there, you have a clear timeline as to what occurred and what didn't occur. And then the mediator judge looks over the insurance company and said, man, you screwed this one up. You're going to have to put some money on this to make it right. That's that's the way the game's played.
It's a different company, but they're following the same script as Citizens did with me 15 years ago. Now, I had a lot worse damage 15 years ago.
They're
following the same script, even though it's a different company.
The script is often the same, or the complaints that the complaints that we hear, or have the same dynamics to it. So you got to beat them at their own. Honestly, you got to beat them at their own game. They have a set of rules in there.
Got 1 minute.
As you and your wife's been saying, they're just trying to, starve us out pretty much. And what makes it even worse, I have a sales agreement, a pending sale. We can't close until the roof's resolved. So they're delaying the sale of my house.
Yeah, you're right.
I have a buyer.
Document.
I can't. As is meant as is on August 28th.
So Sam,
that's what as is meant. Just delaying the sale of my house.
Yeah,
it's
Sam.
not just,
give us a call at 504-837-1304 and give us a call if you got any questions. And Albert, you got anything before we go?
Still on Tuesday nights?
Oh, yeah, we're on Tuesday nights. Yes, sir. 8:00.
Until probably in the next 3 years, probably.
I don't know. Until they get tired of me. All right.
Listening.
Thanks for the call. Albert, you got anything before we go?
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing more and more of this, and they're delaying. Look, when they've got $10 billion or $10 million, a particular insurance company, maybe $50 million that they're going to pay out on this claim. If they can hold that money another 30 days, think about the interest that they're going to.
See you in 2 weeks.
The News Talk Sports Leader.